And our program guest this morning is the Minister for Home Affairs and Acting Immigration Minister Brendan O'Connor. But before then, we'll see what the Sunday papers are reporting around the country and when you get past all the football. Although this is partly football related, Andrew Wilkie has complained about Channel 9's coverage.
Yeah, well, Andrew Wilkie has a problem with the separation of powers, by which I mean, of course, the separation of politics from NRL. You showed a clip just then of the NRL semi-final broadcast and Ray Warren and Phil Gould embarking upon a rather spontaneous takedown of the Wilkie poker machine initiative. Sam Maiden today in the Sunday Telegraph and other papers has got a story reporting that Andrew Wilkie is now going to Channel 9 and also apparently in concert with Nick Xenophon complaining to ACMA about commentators playing the law, not the ball. Now, I would have thought that generally the greater offence would be that rugby fans might have wanted to hear more about the rugby during a semi-final than more about politics, but Wilkie and Xenophon reckon it's
it did come at a critical part of the game. It was the opening of the second half when you think maybe that's what the supporters expect them to set up the second half, but we'll have a listen to part of what they had to say.
The proposed mandatory pre-commitment that they've put forward is a rubbish policy. It won't work. It won't solve the problem they say they're going to target. And it will do irreparable damage to the hospitality industry. It won't work and it will hurt. They're 100% right. I've never seen a more stupid policy in all my life.
Pretty weird, isn't it? I'd love to see them take on superannuation reform, though. I mean, if they're going to get into the field.
No one's ever accused ACMA of being a, ferocious and formidable organisation. But that said, not many people complain to it either. And if you look at the Broadcasting Code of Conduct, it has got a whole lot of things in there about separating news and comment, about fair and impartial comment, etc., etc. So it'll be interesting to see whether the complaint actually gets anywhere.
I wonder, though, whether the typical NRL fan had actually heard of the word policy before.
George.
Like, I think he was struggling with his audience at that point.
Well, maybe
he used the word twice too.
Maybe Wilkie and Xenophon had just taken all the way to the top, the guy in the Pies jumper, who, by the way, I should point out, I believe still is a teetotaler, right? Just in case any viewers were thinking anything different after watching those clips.
He would have been singing the Geelong theme song as well if he drank.
Well, they have said it, Channel 9 have said it, well, there won't be a repeat of it during today's grand final coverage, though talking points were prepared for this last week. That doesn't suggest it was a network decision, but it was certainly a program decision to run with this. And Lenore, the government has been busy on this issue as well. They've come up with some poker machine figures.
They have. The Sun Herald has a story this morning saying that there is now one poker machine for every 108 people in Australia, which puts us in the top 10 of international gambling meccas alongside Monaco and some Caribbean islands.
Oh, what an achievement.
Some achievement. I like the quote in this story from Jenny Macklin, the relevant minister, saying that Clubs Australia are using aggressive tactics, but the government and the Australian community won't be bullied by this $20 million scare campaign. That might go some way to explain why Andrew Wilkie's playing such a mean hand of poker and insisting he'll bring the government down if they don't do what he agreed with them that they would do on mandatory pre-commitment, because of course they were completely bullied by a $27 million mining industry ad campaign. So he might feel like that's why he needs to kind of steel their resolve on this matter.
The clubs are making a lot of noise on this, but of course some politicians have built careers on this issue, opposing gambling.
Well, I mean, Nick Xenophon's obviously there as an anti-gambling, anti-pokies senator. Now, the problem with all this for the government, obviously, is that this was never their issue. This is Andrew Wilkie's issue, and they'd like to be talking about something else. And of course, the other week when Wayne Swan became the world's greatest treasurer, and Greece looked like it was about to bring down the entire global economy again that week, we were talking about mandatory pre-commitments. I mean, I really do wonder about our political culture at the moment.
And Andrew Wilkie makes the point he's not anti-gambling, he says. He's against, he wants to do something for problem gamblers. Well, that's the Sunday papers. We'll go to our studio guest now, Brendan O'Connor, the Minister for Home Affairs and the Acting Immigration Minister. He's also the Minister for Privacy. And this week the Federal Court brought down a landmark finding against columnist Andrew Bolt. So while the Minister joins us, we'll hear from the Shadow Attorney General, George Brandis.